Hello, I am Jeff Lebesch, and this is the Brewer podcast from All About Beer. My guest today is Frezi Bouckaert of Purpose Brewing, and she is here for a conversation that goes beyond the brew house and into topics that matter to brewing professionals and curious beer drinkers. First, please visit allaboutbeer.com and follow on social media All About Beer. To support journalism in the beer space, check out patreon.com/allaboutbeer. We'll get into the conversation in just a moment, but first, this message.
First Tea is a proud sponsor of the Brewer to Brewer podcast. Now is the time to look into all things Rubios for beer. Rubios tea brings earthy, woody, and sweet honey notes that round out red ales, saisons, and brown ales. Combine the Rubios with vanilla, banana, and the almighty pumpkin spice for smooth autumn flavors. Email info@firsttea.com to find out more. That's FIRSDTEA.com.
I'm David Seiler from Stomp Brewing in Charleston, South Carolina, and I use Malteurop because they have great products and customer service. The new warehouse has been an amazing upgrade to Malteurop service, which I really didn't think was even possible. The short turnaround time has been great for me. Being able to pivot and change brew days is crucial to any brewery. The ability to switch things at the end of the week, knowing I'll have grain within a couple of days for placing my order, means I can be much more fluid with my brew days. It has severely decreased my anxiety as a planner, and less stress is such a great feeling. Contact Malteurop today and visit malteuropmaltingco.com.
Today's episode is sponsored by Stomp Stickers. Stomp is a proud member of the Brewers Association that produces a wide variety of printed brewery products, such as beer labels, keg collars, coasters, beer boxes, and much more. Stomp's website features an easy-to-use digital design tool, low quantity orders, fast turnaround times, and free domestic shipping. Visit stompstickers.com and use code BREWER for 15% off of your first order.
Okay, let's get into it. A bit about my guest today. Frezi Bouckaert is the co-founder of Purpose Brewing in Fort Collins, Colorado. She started working as a bartender during school holidays in Belgium and then opened her first brewery with husband Peter Bouckaert in 1994. They moved to Fort Collins in 1996 to work at New Belgium Brewing Company. While there, she worked as a bartender, helping production, the marketing department, and accounting, and soon became a mom. She is a certified beer judge certification program judge, having judged at competitions in the United States, Mexico, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Argentina, South Africa, and throughout Europe. She is a second-level Cicerone, right? Has a brewing certification from Catholic University Leuven in Belgium, and a master's in beer styles and evaluation from the Siebel Institute. When she is not working at the brewery, she enjoys cycling, traveling, learning new things, cooking, family, and socializing with friends. And, of course, just relaxing when the time allows for that. All right. Welcome, Frezi. I'm going to say why is it important? What do I want to talk with you on this podcast? Now, the worldwide beer industry is generally male dominated, and her husband Peter is well accomplished in that industry. But Frezi brings a lot to the table on her own. She stands a lot on her own merits and has accomplished quite a bit. And sometimes it may seem that she's overshadowed by Peter, but really you will find this very enlightening, all of the things that she has accomplished. So, all right, are we ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Frezi. All right. So you're Belgian. You're born in Belgium. Grew up there, university and other education there. And that's where you first got involved in the beer industry. Tell us what involvement you had in Belgian beer business before coming to the United States.
So I started as a bartender in the 1980s. Like Jeff said already, just to bring myself, it was just a student job to make sure I had money to go to university. But I was only 16. Yes, in Belgium, you can start as a bartender at 16. But when I had to decide what direction I wanted to go, I was first thinking to become a teacher. When you're a teacher, I really like to support other people or to teach anything, maths, brewing, anything. So when I stayed in the restaurant I had, it was always the busiest times were during school holidays. It was like, okay, if I become a teacher, I can still do both jobs. I can be a teacher takes the normal time and a bartender in busy time or in holidays. But my parents did not want me to become a teacher. My parents wanted me to become a certified financial planner. Oh dear, I didn't do that too long. After studies, since I was a certified financial planner, I was not able to work during the school holidays in my second job anymore, the one I actually loved more. So Peter and I looked at each other in '94, and we were like, hey, Peter was kind of at the end of his rope in the Rodenbach. He didn't learn enough, and I was at the end of the rope. And my daytime job was like, I hate this. I sit on a table all the time. I don't like this. So then we decided to open the Zwingel. The Zwingel started in '94. When we opened the Zwingel, our main focus was actually on those heavy days, heavy times. So every time we were open, it was in the weekend or during school holidays. But we were focusing on buses. Every time a bus came in, a bus left. So there was always a group came in, a group left. You never had the one person sitting on the bar. My big involvement in a small brewery, well, everybody knows that it's doing everything, going accounting, since I was a certified finance planner, to bottling, brewing, the whole shebang. And then in '96, we came over for the brewing conference where Peter had to talk. And then, of course, we met Kim and Jeff.
Yes. Okay. So that's a segue into a huge transition for you. You were embedded in the Belgian beer business. You owned a small brewery there, a little brew pub. And suddenly in 1996, you find yourself in the United States and preparing to move and to Colorado. How did this come about? Describe how that happened. That's a big change.
Yeah, so once again, so we had a small brew pub, which was a small, very tiny on that time, just focusing on the buses. I moved over since I really hate working as a financial planner. By that time, I moved over to the police force. And on the weekends, we had a brew pub. But Peter was still like, I need to I'm going to start looking for another job. When we came over here, and I'm not thinking about what Peter told because we cannot overlap those two talks 2 weeks away from each other. But when we came over for the brewing conference, Jeff asked us, hey, we are looking for a Belgian brewer. And that time we were like, hey, forget it. Belgians, they just stay under the church. They never move, forget it. But then a friend of us told us, hey, you should at least go check out New Belgium. It's in Colorado. It's a fun upcoming brewery. It's a fun town. I saw the mountains. I love skiing. I was gone. That was my stuff. I was like, oh no, I want to live here. And Peter saw the brewery and Peter was like, wow, this is a beautiful castle, but it does needs some more foundation. We called Peter's dad during the interview that Kim, Brian, and Jeff had. We called Peter's dad, and Peter's dad was like, I knew that already, that you guys were never going to come back. We're like, how did you know that? I didn't know that. We moved, and then once here, I did this almost the same as in the Zwingles, so that was not the biggest difference from me. I did the same. I worked everywhere. I worked a little bit in accounting, some on the packaging line. I helped Peter out in the brew house.
Okay, good. All right, thank you. It's hard for even me to swallow. I know this whole story, but it's for somebody to just pull up their roots from their native country and move halfway across the world. It's a very risky and exciting time. It's very kudos to you for doing that. So early years in Colorado, you no longer had the small brewery, the Zwickel. You no longer had your job in the police force. You worked a little bit at New Belgium. Is there more to add about your early years in Colorado?
So one of the hardest things for the early years in Colorado, so we came over here with an H-1B visa, which is a professional visa. And it's a visa for 3 years. So you're like, okay, am I going to be here for 3 years? Am I going to rent a car? Am I going to rent a house? Or are we going to start buying stuff? Guess what? We are 2014 and we are still here. Luckily, after about 6 years, we bought our first house 6 months later.
Okay, yes. All right. Yeah, it's certainly unsettling, but you were working diligently to settle in, buying a house and getting comfortable in Colorado. It didn't take very long. A couple more years. What year was? Well,
so Walt was born in 1999 and Daniel was born in 2000.
That's a big transition now, becoming a mom, being parents, and that's you. A big support role, of course, raising children, and that took up a lot of your time. But how did you maintain some level of beer industry involvement during those child raising years?
That's a good question. So when I want to go back to how I grew up, because when I grew up and I had 4 brothers. Oh, brother, yeah, I know. But the time that I grew up was really still a time of the woman the supporter of the men in society. I'm not going to cut. I have to stay sober here. Not sober, but I'm going tearing up here. So it was really important for the woman to stay behind, to support the husbands or to support the children. So it was really fun for me to be able to work in the police force, to have the Zwingel, and coming here to be able to help out in New Belgium. But then when I had my kids, I really went back to, okay, I'm here, just not have family. My parents are not here. I need to go support those kids 100%. So they were born in 1999 and 2000. And then, childbearing years, I didn't have any time, especially on that time. Peter was traveling a lot. We were opening a lot. New Belgium was opening a lot of other states. And my parents were not here to help out in child support. Then they went to school. A couple of years later, they went to school, went to a lot of sports activities. Looking back at those years, I wish I had done BCCP and CISO during the times that I was waiting for them or supporting for them, rooting for them during the time they were in the sports. But I didn't. I waited until I supported them. I stayed with them, worked for them, while supporting my husband, who was traveling a lot. And waited until my youngest one was 2016, was able to go to school, to high school all by himself, to start again with my brewing career.
Okay, very good. Great story. Devoted to raising the kids, 2 very successful young adult children now that you have, and both launched and doing out on their own. I heard you say a word a moment ago that you wish you had done your Cicerone training, and I had to stop for a moment. What is this Cicerone? Can you describe what that is? I didn't know myself.
Yes, so Cicerone, I wish I hadn't done my Cicerone. Of course, I did my Cicerone. I wish I had done it during the times that I was sitting on the sideline of sports or any other event that I brought my kids through. During those times, I had a lot of time to study. Now I waited till later. But Cicerone itself is the equivalent of the sommelier in wine, Cicerone in beer. I'm now level 2 Cicerone, and I'm working towards level 3 Cicerone and towards advanced BCCP.
That's very impressive. Very impressive. I mean, the sommelier status in the wine world is well known, and but really the sophistication of beer judging and beer tasting is equally as complex as it is in the wine world. And so this
I think it's even more complex.
Even more complex. Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a way more involved from the grains, the malting, the boiling. There's way more steps involved in brewing than there is in wine.
Yes, for sure. And it ages, has a shorter lifespan, and it's much more susceptible to changes in agricultural raw material, or the raw materials being an agricultural product.
Talking about the aging, one of my first Cicerone exams, I was starting to flip those two together because I did it in such a short time. One of the earliest Cicerone exams I failed because there was a duvel that they served here. And I told them, you cannot serve this duvel, that's faulted. They're like, hey, look, it comes straight from the bottle and it still has its shelf life. I'm like, well, it's transported from all the way from Belgium over here. The only duvels I've had so far was in the duvel wort hut itself and the duvel company itself. So this is faulted.
Well, good for you to stand up to your evaluators and say that you brought in a spoiled beer. I know what the real beer tastes like because I've tasted it at the brewery in Belgium. So there, very good for you. All right, I think we'll take a short break here and get right back to the conversation.
The air is turning crisp, so that means it's time for fall flavor. Rubios from First Tea works in wheat beers and pale ales to give copper color and textured smoothness, combined with vanilla, lemon, or chai flavors for those warm, earthy notes of the season. Talk with the team at First Tea, and they'll help you find the best way to use Rubios and other botanicals for your next project. Email info@firsttea.com. That's FIRSDTEA.com.
I'm David Seiler from Stomp Brewing in Charleston, South Carolina, and I use Malteurop because they have great products and customer service. The new warehouse has been an amazing upgrade to Malteurop service, which I really didn't think was even possible. The short turnaround time has been great for me. Being able to pivot and change brew days is crucial to any brewery. The ability to switch things at the end of the week, knowing I'll have grain within a couple of days for placing my order, means I can be much more fluid with my brew days. It has severely decreased my anxiety as a planner, and less stress is such a great feeling. Contact Malteurop today and visit malteuropmaltingco.com.
This episode is also sponsored by Stomp Stickers, one of our favorite partners when it comes to printed brewery products. Stomp Stickers is a reliable resource for printed items such as beer labels and boxes, keg collars, coasters, and more. Visit stompstickers.com and use code BREWER for 15% off of your first order.
Okay, welcome back. So you were raising kids, and Peter's working diligently at New Belgium, and then your kids grew up and left, and eventually Peter also left New Belgium Brewing Company, and you two started the Purpose Brewing Company in Fort Collins. Was this your second or third brewery interest? I mean, I read somewhere that you had involvement in 2 breweries prior to Purpose. Is that right?
So thanks to the I can't come up with the word right now of New Belgium employee ownership in New Belgium.
Oh, okay. You
Yes,
can count that. All right, perfect.
yeah, that's employee ownership, you know. So we owned the Zwingel, Peter and I, and then we were part owner thanks to the employee ownership of New Belgium. And now we owned Purpose. Purpose has also been part owner. We share it together with Ashley and James.
Okay. So what was your motivation, you and Peter, for starting Purpose Brewing?
Okay. I think it's just let it repeat itself, but just to not sure, I was still working in New Belgium. I only left New Belgium during COVID because I love teaching and I was doing a lot of stuff. I was doing the beer mentor. So teaching new employees or giving tours, they were my 2 favorite things. And during COVID, we did not have that anymore. So I left New Belgium during COVID. Peter left New Belgium in 2016, started Purpose. But I was saying, life repeats itself. We started as Zwingel during the time that Peter was working in the Rodenbach, but needed another outlet. Peter left New Belgium and started Purpose to have another purpose in his life.
Okay, have another purpose. For those who don't know, Purpose Brewing is a very small brew pub in Fort Collins, Colorado. They have a 3-barrel brewing system. They rarely package their beers. Most of the beer is sold on premise, and it's always an eclectic mix of beers on tap there. So it's not really something that it's not a brewery that would be expected to grow and make a lot of money. It's really exists as a purpose to spread the love of beer and
correct.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. So even our logo, our little logo, I have the T-shirt on, but we are not on camera. Our logo is an acorn with an oak tree. The purpose of an acorn is to grow into an oak tree. The purpose of the oak tree is to become a barrel. And the purpose of those barrels is to make you a little bit nutty.
Okay, that is a great statement. Purpose of the barrels is to make you a little bit nutty. All right, I got that. Thank you. Yes, it makes the barrels, the oak barrels make for skip a few steps there. They make beautiful containers for complex aging of alcoholic beverages.
Correct. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Oops, sorry about that. And the other thing that I want to mention, in our logo is we also have the sorry about that. We also have the sign of Belgium in there.
Yes, that's a interesting little bit on the logo that nobody, a few people would notice without it having been pointed out, but they're very proud of that little embedded image in their logo. Okay, now more recently, I'd like to hear about how you've gone deep into learning about beer science and beer judging in particular, and how you grew into this international role of beer judging. How did you get into that, and what are you doing to promote yourself?
So, like we have heard before, I started in brewing and beer in the 80s. Have always been drinking my first beers, and I'm drinking blonde from West Vleteren right now. My first beers have always been blonde or palm, so pale ales. When I met Peter, he was already working in the Brodenbach. The first Christmas party we had to choose between Rodenbach or a water. Well, that first beer, that was sour, I can tell you that. And and nowadays it's one of my favorite styles. Then during COVID, Peter and I looked a little bit at each other and we were like, okay, we met each other. When we met each other in 92, we knew that we wanted to see the world and we traveled a lot. We even moved locations. In 2016, the kids were pretty much grown up. 2018, the youngest one left for college. So we became empty nesters and we were like, okay, we want to travel again, but we still want to stay focused on our passion. So how can we teach other people about beer? We have to know more about beer. Well, we have been in beer for so many years, but I still think I don't know enough. So yes, I try to be a very good judge. Yes, I'm focused on BHSP and Cicerone, but I'm gonna try to go further. September 5th, I'm starting with the Master Brewing Association, Brewing Science.
Okay, that's fantastic. Here you are at a time in your life where you could retire and just go traveling. But
retire is a big word, you know.
Okay. Transitioning.
Yeah, transitioning. We always have that discussion. When do you retire? What are the points for retiring? And I always say, as long as you support yourself with your working income, you're not retired.
Okay, very good. But I'm so impressed that you are really diving into this passion of learning about beer, teaching about beer. Teaching about beer has been a lifelong thing. I've heard you say that throughout this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more you learn about beer, the more effective you can be in teaching others about beer.
And the more you think you don't know.
The more you learn, the more you know that you don't know. Okay.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's why also I'm going to start with the Master Brewing Association. I also went to Siebel, which was really fun. But like I said, the more you know, the more you don't know. So you were talking about the judging.
Yes.
At the same time, we still do 3 trips a year with bringing Americans to Belgium, where we also love to support all those Americans in their studying of the Belgian beer culture.
Yes. Okay. Wonderful. So those 3 trips a year of tours of Americans to Belgium, is that including the ones you organize with New Belgium?
Yeah, so we do 2 with New Belgium, and then I do one by myself. The one by yourself. The one that we do next to the New Belgium trips is usually sold out very fast. So I would be able to do more, but it takes a lot, especially since I try to support about 42 people, so about 120 people a year. For me personally, it's enough.
Yes, I'm sure that's a good burden to try to usher 120 people per year through tours and getting them to leave the bar on time when they're happily tipsy. And kudos to you for working so hard on it.
Well, especially since I have to look at both sides. I want to bring all those people. It would be easy for me to do the same trip every time. Although if I do that, Peter would kill me.
Oh, okay. You like the variety, of course. Yes. That's good. Tell us about your beer judging certifications. I think you have a bit of a long list of qualifications in the beer judging world.
So I started with BHSP, came over to Cicerone. BHSP is certified, so I have enough tasting points to do my nationals. I'm going to work on national. Cicerone level 2. And then lately, actually on the last European Brewing Conference, I found out that there is a WSET, which is Wine Spirits Educational. That came up in brewing as well. So I'm working on that for the moment too.
Okay, impressive. Very nice. So what? Do you have a?
No, I thought you still had another. But
do. And so this international beer judging requires you to, or requires travel around the world, of course. Do you travel to beer judge, or do you judge beer in order to travel? I think they're both important passions, and maybe they're equal passions, but could you speak to that?
They are definitely equal passions. We travel to church and we judge to travel. Like you heard before, teaching has always been one of my big passions. So has traveling. I think because you mentioned retirement or transitioning, I think we have to start focusing on traveling a little bit more before or after the beer conferences all over the world. Nowadays, we just go in and come straight back because we are still very involved in purpose too.
Okay. Very busy couple there. Yeah. I was interested to hear Frezi say that, or interested to hear you say that maybe you need to travel more, and it's surprising for me to find you in Fort Collins because I think you do travel quite a bit. But
we do travel quite a bit, and it's really fun because yesterday I was my president of Pink Boots tried to be very involved in Pink Boots too, and she wants me to do another class here in Fort Collins for Pink Boots. And the first Friday that looked that Shade or me are available is going to be October 25th. So yes, we do travel a lot. But it's just fun.
Okay, wonderful. I think your life sounds very exciting in the not retirement post New Belgium era. You have settled well into the United States and been here for a long time, but you have deep connections to Belgium, and you still go back there all the time, and you still have family there, of course.
Yeah.
So you are really pretty, what do I call, binational, practically.
Mm-hmm. I think before we started this whole concourse, or this whole podcast, I should say, Jeff, you also mentioned me that brewing is a very dominated, man-dominated world. But one of my next speech talks is going to be in Mexico, and they want me to talk about beer and history. Beer and history. It's the woman who started it. Remember the elves?
Of course.
So the woman started it. The women were hunter-gatherers. They were always they were the one who making the food and who making the beer. Until the men figured out, hey, we can earn some money with this. We're gonna take it over.
Well, that's good. The history portion, I'm sure you'll do a fantastic job. And that's a whole nother aspect of the beer, to look at the historical culture of beer that's seldom talked about these days. And it's very fascinating. And I would like to learn more about that myself. I mean, we see pictures of the Egyptians theoretically making beer, but we don't know exactly what they're doing. But
well, now they figured out that beer has been there since before pottery, so before civilization. The first beers were found in holes in caves, but just the holes, not pottery.
Fascinating. That'll be fun. I would love to catch some of your lectures on that when you get up to speed on that.
Sounds good.
All right, good. Do you have any more you would like to add about your involvement in the beer industry and judging and history and teaching? And there's so many topics that you touch on.
The other day somebody was asking me, how was it possible for you to do Cicerone and Cicerone level 2 and BGCP in just a couple of months? I'm like, well, as I said before, it's not a couple of months, but I have been working in production and brewing and the whole beer world since the 80s. Have had the Zwingel, then came over from Belgium, now have Purpose. Yes, the studying itself, which normally on average takes 2 years, I did it in 4 months.
Impressive. Very good. A 2-year program condensed to 4 months. That's fantastic. Frezi, you are definitely an asset to the modern beer world and the modern judging world. So I thank you very much for your passion in this industry and especially promoting just being here and saying that, showing that yes, it's a male-dominated industry, but that's just a coincidence. It doesn't matter, male, female, we can all do this.
I think it's changed a lot, and I'm going to look forward to see a lot more women and male and women on this next coming podcast.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you, Frezi. That will be. Do we have any more to add? Or?
Okay, anything else to add? Yes, my pet peeve has always been pint glasses. Since we moved to the States in 1996, the craft beer movement has been improving a lot. We all worked hard, the brewers, the malters, the hop farmers, we all worked hard to have that last new niche, that last new product, to make that beautiful 10 minutes of pleasure. But have we ever worked on the presentation of it? No, we still use those crazy old pint glasses, the shaker glasses. I really don't like them. They're almost like giving a beautiful present to one of your best friends in yellow pages of the old phone book. Those shaker glasses were only there for the bartender. Those shaker glasses, they're ugly. They're hard to hold. By the time you finish your beer, your beer is lukewarm. They're not fun to drink from because they have a fat rim. They're not sexy on the lips. They weren't there for shaking cocktails. They were never intended to drink your beer from. So yes, we worked hard as a craft beer movement, but now we need to work on the presentation. Do not use shaker glasses anymore. They're ugly, fat, and not fun. They're not good for your 10 minutes of pleasure.
So Frezi will be back on the next episode of this show as the host, having a conversation with a very special brewer of her choosing. That will be on the air in 2 weeks, so make sure you tune in for that. And now, as a reminder, please visit allaboutbeer.com and follow on social media. To support journalism in the beer space, please check out patreon.com/allaboutbeer. Thank you. I am Jeff Lebesch and signing off. Thank you for listening to the Brewer to Brewer podcast.
Thank you so much.
First Tea is your source for Rubios and a whole host of herbs and botanicals. Find your fall flavors and colors to liven up the autumn season by talking with the team at First Tea. Email info@firsttea.com. That's FIRSDTEA.com.
I'm David Seiler from Stomp Brewing in Charleston, South Carolina, and I use Malteurop because they have great products and customer service. The new warehouse has been an amazing upgrade to Malteurop service, which I really didn't think was even possible. The short turnaround time has been great for me. Being able to pivot and change brew days is crucial to any brewery. The ability to switch things at the end of the week, knowing I'll have grain within a couple of days for placing my order, means I can be much more fluid with my brew days. It has severely decreased my anxiety as a planner, and less stress is such a great feeling. Contact Malteurop today and visit malteuropmaltingco.com.
Today's episode was also sponsored by our friends at Stomp Stickers. Stomp is a proud member of the Brewers Association that produces a wide variety of printed brewery products, such as beer labels, keg collars, coasters, beer boxes, and much more. Stomp's website features an easy-to-use design tool, low quantity orders, fast turnaround times, and free domestic shipping. Visit stompstickers.com and use code BREWER for 15% off of your first order.